shit, dude. Good shit, dude. Oh, nice.
Yes.
Wait, did you see that?
Yes.
You see that? All right,
Good plays. Come
Big
on,
plays,
guys.
yo. Oh, rip. GG.
Rip.
Good plays. Big plays.
Let's go.
Oh, are you guys competing in the tournament?
No, we're just watching.
Hanging out, watching the games.
Hey, Birds here. As you can probably tell, we had some technical difficulties with Bones' mic track this week. By the time we get to the interview, it's all sorted out, so pardon the inconvenience and enjoy the show.
Hello, Swain. How are you doing?
I'm good. Let's go. Birds.
I think I can agree. Let's go, and also good shit. Bones?
I'm feeling hype AF right now. That's for sure. Feeling hella stoked about this episode of Crucible Radio, the podcast for all things Destiny PvP. And the reason we are so jacked up right now is that recently, 2 weekends ago, there was a tournament on both PS4 and Xbox, and it was awesome.
Nuts. So many teams competing. Everyone's coming out of the woodwork for this one.
Let's frame it. How many teams signed up?
Like 400.
For what console?
For PS4.
And then also for Xbox?
Like another 400.
Yeah.
It really did blow up, and there had to be some qualifiers and everything. People were kind of worried that it wouldn't go off, but I thought it went off pretty great. I mean, some snags here and there, but this is something that's happening with no custom games in place, with no private lobbies, just a group of people deciding to go out there and compete, and then an even larger group deciding that this is what they want to watch over the weekend, and it was so amazing. So we're going to talk about that this week. We've got Champion on PS4, member of the Bomb Squad Kittens, Luminosity is here, and he's going to go in crazy detail about what he does to get good, how he prepared with his team to win, and what they really did to dominate the whole day, and that's really freaking cool.
So coming out of this awesome tournament, me and you, Bones, went into this week feeling a little competitive.
Yeah, we kind of like got amped up just from watching and not doing anything over the weekend.
Yeah, just sitting in our houses and going, let's go. I'm at work like, yo, let's go. Let's get these emails done. Good shit, team. But yeah, we did some scrimmages. It was really fun. We set up a team with our friends Keen Koala, with Maniac Greek, with Texas Prod of Team Inclement, and they know we're just going to rub it in their faces on the show. But Swain and I and Keen here did pretty well for ourselves. It was fun. It was really good to actually just, having just watched good teams play, for us to try to replicate that and just be like, let's communicate as hard as we can. And we really did come together as a team, and it was, matches were close, but they were like the most fun I've had in Destiny. I can say that without a doubt, the most fun I've had in Destiny in months. Yeah, definitely. I remember
so
like
jelly.
One of our first episodes, you were like, yeah, we started doing some sweats. Like, it's like my new favorite thing to do. And then we stopped doing it.
Yeah, it became tough. You got to find people that are into it. And there's kind of a lull, and trials was the only thing.
I think we spent enough time getting better at the game. And now we're kind of just like, all right, let's go out. Let's find some even competition. Let's have some games. Because, like, trials kind of brings that out in you. You kind of spend trials, like, those last few parts of the card. And you are just, like, getting in there, and it is tough. Mm-hmm. And to just replicate that over and over again in a scrim scenario, so much fun. And I went into these scrims thinking like, oh, I'm worried I'm not going to do so well. I kind of held my own, had some fun. Yeah. And we turned out some good games there.
Brad domed you a couple times out of that sun charge that you've been bragging so much about.
Yeah.
But it was good games all around. GG's everywhere. Birds, we really miss you, bud.
Yeah, well, I wish I could have joined you on this one. I'll have to catch the next one, but I'll have you know, I bought myself a new cloak at the speaker, and I'm looking so dope. So I got my own thing going on. You don't have to worry about old Birdsy. Yeah, it's green. It's got a snake on it. It's my whole new look.
That one
now,
actually is really cool.
That's pretty sweet one.
I've just been wearing like Legend of the Six Coyotes for 1 year now, so decided to mix it up a little bit. But yeah, no, I kind of sad I missed out, and sort of just like hearing the hype of, and then just hearing like the continued hype for the next 24 hours coming down off of it. It's like, oh, that sounds like it.
Let's talk a little bit about it. Let's talk about what we worked on in those scrims, because there was a key thing that we did that I would say was probably why we succeeded.
Yeah, I mean, watching those tourneys, we were all chatting away. I had a lot of people in chat rooms and stuff like that, just all watching and all enjoying it. But what I noticed and what I was talking about was that the teams that were winning were the ones talking the most. And this is just talking in general or just doing good call outs, but there's no dead air. And this is something I've been trying to pay attention to lately, because one night on my own, I was watching some Twitch and I ended up on Snipe Down's stream. And I know I'm being a bit of a traitor here when I say this, but Snipe Down is he's a pro Halo player, and he's playing the new Halo. If this guy puts out a montage, it's the greatest montage anyone will ever see. He's got a 25-minute long montage out there on YouTube. It's just incredible. And so he's doing some qualifiers, and for a while it was him sitting in his chair for doing nothing in like a lobby, and I'm just kind of waiting for it to get started because I want to check out some Halo, and I'm just trying to see what the game looks like. And then they jump in, and it goes from like half an hour of him just sort of like basically talking to chat kind of, and talking to some dude in his room. And then all of a sudden it's just, tower, I'm going to be, I'm down, I need help, they got to call outs, I got the sniper, and it's just like, I had to like turn the volume down because for some reason they were talking so much.
Auctioning off Halo.
Yeah, it's like 4 auctioneers. And we've got to be zone going for 3 times, and the player's down, and another player's going to contest it up. And like, it was just absurd. But they were, as this like oiled machine, just working so in tandem with each other, and they were just narrating what they were doing. It wasn't like, oh, there's a guy over on B. Okay, I'll go over there. Oh, I'm dead, guys. Like, it was every shot they took was described with into the chat, and that was amazing. So the teams that were doing that in the Destiny tournament really shined. So we tried to replicate that in our own scrimmages, and I think it really worked. You know, we were getting used to playing with each other in skirmish and with a new friend who we've only played a few games with, but we just all agreed that we'd be careful, we'd work as a team, we'd hold up if one person went down, and we'd push as a unit. And you don't get those things without talking about it.
It really showed when we would all wipe too, because it would be like, all right, well, I'm respawning right now, and there would be one person over there. And it'd be like, all right, well, let's if he dies, we're going to wait here. And then we would wait, regroup, and immediately talk it out. Where are we going? Mm-hmm. We're setting up over here. Did you see anyone? Where were you just killed? Where are we heading?
It's a challenge to actively break the habit of just spawning and running back. That was the hardest part, because you just want to get back in the game, and you think, if I'm back in it, then I'm helping, or if I'm getting a kill. But it really isn't. You're throwing off your whole rhythm. You're never working as a team. You can't get team shots. Your grenades are being useless. You're just chucking them everywhere. So we really had to slow down a couple times when we knew we needed to focus up and work as a team.
There's one guy I like watching on Twitch that is a pro call out. Ramblin' is his name. And he just constantly is calling out. He was actually in that Night Stalker video we shouted out a couple episodes ago. But he is just constantly talking, constantly chatting, and that's where I started to learn it. That's where I started to like figure out, oh, I need to know the maps better, and I need to give call outs to the different parts of the maps. So it like the first thing I need to do is I need to like envision in the map in my head, and I need to like give each part a name, and then subsets of that little section, you know, catwalk, lower catwalk, you know, far right catwalk. And once I get that down, like I can naturally do it in my head by just seeing it, it'll be, 10 times better than what I am now.
Yep.
I found even when you're not playing with a team, when you're able to think of the way you're playing is not just, you're playing a game and you're sort of going through the motions, but really just taking your gameplay and turning it into a story that you're telling yourself and everyone else continuously, it makes you really pay attention to a lot of the things you might just sort of do without thinking otherwise.
So we'll talk more about these competitive strategies, getting in the mindset to actually work on that level and work on it consistently. Before that, we got some listener questions. We haven't done this in a while, so we really wanted to talk about some of these questions and respond to the community. So we have a few of them. Should we get started?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Okay, so this first question is from @AppalledGG. And he says, what's your favorite small Destiny streamer at the moment? Small, low key. Well, Swain, you already said your favorite, right? Or one of them.
One of my favorites is Rambling. But I want to give a shout out to Asteroid, ASTDROID. Since we're talking about scrims, that's all he does, pretty much. Constantly in scrims. He's, real down to earth, doesn't get too intense about it, but he pro call out as well, and he has fun doing it. So, and I love hanging out in his chat too. So give him a follow.
Yeah, I gotta say, everyone should go check out Ignite. I actually got turned on to Ignite. That's IGKN, I got turned on to him originally from his YouTube videos. He did a series about how sort of spawns work that I found sort of very early in my Destiny career that kind of broke my head open. And very smart guy, friend of the show, and definitely go hang out in his stream and get some of that knowledge, get some of that experience. Check him out.
I got to give a shout out to Joey648. He is a new friend of mine and a great Trials player. So great, in fact, he's ranked number 3 on PlayStation 4 in Trials of Osiris. And we ended up doing some carries together, which was just a total blast. And he's actually the guy that helped me figure out auto rifles after John destroyed me about how I clearly didn't know how to use them. And I realized, yeah, he's absolutely right. And I was ready to just be like, well, fine, I will go back to using the guns I know how to use. But we did a trials run on Twilight Gap, and he was using the Doctor of Passion. And
there you go.
And he was melting people with persistence, getting double kills with one clip because he just knew how to use that perk. And I wasn't even bothering with it. I didn't even think about what makes that gun good. So it really just kind of inspired me to do that. If you see him on PlayStation, he's Family Guy Ostrich, which is a funny name from that one hilarious little clip. But he does carries, he does trials. He will pew your ass in Battlefront. He's just a blast, and it's been fun playing with him.
All right, next question up. We've got Sean at SPTXVI, SPT16. He wants to know, what is your favorite legendary primary and why? Swain, what do you like?
We kind of just talked about it. I'm loving the Doctor of Passion. For the longest time,
a soap opera.
The Doctor of Passion on Mercury. Anyway, I found that I was in a bit of a crisis of identity crisis. I wanted to stick as a sniper. I don't have a variety of shotguns on me on my new PSN, so I really wanted to use my sniper still because I love my sniper. I love using the 1,000 yards there. But I also wanted to pair it with something that I could use up close. I'm not the best hand cannon user, so especially because I spent the last forever using pulse rifles. So I started checking this out about 2 weeks ago, and it is just clicking for me. It's giving me that up close, that in your face, disrupt you when you're aiming down sights. It's a great gun, and it has the best stability. Oh my god, it's like a laser sometimes. Birds, what are you enjoying right now?
I've been trying a lot of stuff, sort of based off of the recommendation last week. I've been playing with Ace of Spades, but when it comes to legendaries, I am having so much fun going through my vault and playing with different pulse rifles. And in particular, I've been collecting PDX 45s from the gunsmiths. I've got one for every character. I've got all the good rolls that have come along. And I have to say, my favorite roll so far has got small bore, hammer forged, and outlaw. It's just it's got great range, it's got great stability, but I think the outlaw really pushes it over the top. But I was actually digging through my vault, and I found this old Dark Below gun, 123 Zisigi, and it's the really fast-firing pulse rifle. It's same archetype as Grasp of Malik in this meta, but it's just got this crazy roll on it that I didn't know what it was at the time, but it's got perfect balance, so you get that stability. You've got counterbalance, you've got the perfect recoil, and it's got full auto. And apparently other people have gotten this same roll. But this thing is just it's like the bullet hose of pulse rifles, and it's a ton of fun to use. It's very competitive. And yeah, check your vault out if you manage to hold on to this one. I'm curious to know if other people got this same magic roll that just blows it out of the water. So yeah, I've been playing with those.
What's a vault?
It's that empty shoebox that you keep meticulously clean.
Oh, that thing sitting in the middle of the tower. Yeah, I've never clicked that.
It's overrated.
Yeah. My favorite legendary primary, I sound like a broken record. It still might not like the others. Like in 2.0 and 2.1, nothing has changed. That gun I have a dream roll on it. I switch primaries constantly. I have ADD with primaries right now, which is fun because it means every game I'm trying something new and I'm playing differently. But whenever I kind of rotate around back to that thing, I'm just like, oh yeah, this is nice. Outlaw, braced frame, and life support, just getting random Red Death perks once in a while and flawless stability. It feels so good. But yeah, that hasn't changed.
Our next question is from Flaming Taco Fury. They want to know, you've talked about specific guns, like we
just did.
But when and how should we use the 4 primary archetypes?
Good question.
All right, we got scouts,
What's a
autos,
primary?
pulses, hand cannons.
Scouts, obviously, we want to be using those at range. We don't want to put ourselves in a position where they're too close. And that can be tough on a lot of maps. It's fully understandable if you think like, look, these are too close quarters. I'm not going to use a scout rifle. Then you just need to consider, do you like shotguns or do you like sidearms? Because they do pair well with them. I run scout rifles no matter what because I'm always trying to back up. And that can be perfect for scout rifles. But picking people off at range is very satisfying. And if you get more time to see an enemy, you're killing them long before they get in range with their doctor or their pulse rifles.
Yeah, I think the best way to see it is if you equip Mida and you go for that long range kill and how quick the time to kill is at that range.
Mm-hmm.
It feels really nice. And that gives you the best idea of how and when to use your scout rifle.
What's feeling right? If I'm thinking about a scout rifle, I got to land a lot of headshots in a row and continuously hit the opponent, keep that flinch up. With the pulse rifle, it's less about nailing a whole bunch of shots and just nailing 2 or 3 or 4 and getting them perfect, but having to wait that much longer between them. And again, it really comes down to what are you going to pair it up with? I will say with pulses, you have a bit more flexibility because the pulses work a little bit better up close than the scout rifles do.
Yeah.
I would say with pulse rifles, just kind of consider like how close would you want to challenge a sniper? Obviously, people can snipe at close ranges and do very well because they've had a lot of practice, but you can challenge a sniper at scout rifle range knowing you'll still hit headshots. How close do you want to be where you feel like they have to make a pretty tough shot to stop you if they're sniping? And you're getting easy pulse rifle kills, because that's right where I start feeling comfortable. And I realize I challenge a little too far away if someone's sniping me and I've got my PDX.
Auto rifles, hand cannons, basically the same thing, right?
Well, like auto rifles are like, I would say is the opposite way. So you can hit those really long shots. They'll happen every once in a while, but you need to be using them up close.
It was a learning curve for me now that I finally got a handle on auto rifles, but it is true. You cannot go from your old favorites and just pick up an auto rifle and think, yeah, this will be fine. And you can spec an auto rifle for range and you can find a good RE41 or Monte Carlo, for example, but where they dominate is up close, and where you get to laugh is when a shotgun rusher charges you and you just hit fire and melt them. I mean, that's what they're for, is to keep people away from you.
Yeah, you're going to definitely sacrifice the amount of bullets for the ability to shoot far.
Mm-hmm.
Hand cannons are kind of in that close range, but I don't like them too close, because you got to pace your shots and you need time. And if someone is moving close to you, they're moving faster across your screen. And if they're a little farther away, you can track them easily. I will say that hand cannons and auto rifles are just so glorious in the advantage of shooting in the air. If someone is absolute and you've got a hand cannon or a doctrine, I don't care how many those little bullets do. If you're jumping up in the air and shooting, you have such a better chance of hitting them, and it's really awesome to get a kill that way.
Coming from the guy that uses the longest range hand cannon.
You're right. First curse. You want to know? It's literally Thorn year 1 range. I mean, it's incredible. I can hit from special to special on Burning Shrine. I can hit from the 2 balconies that overlook the middle of Bannerfall. I can stand up on top of the crates on Twilight Gap and hit the sniping ledge over at A. First curse is legit, and I'm going to keep saying it.
Spread the word. I would say the one thing you got to keep in mind with autos and hand cannons, and especially for autos like maybe like an Arminius that doesn't quite have that super stability of the Doctor, but you've really got to keep recoil in mind, but it's different in how you do it. With a hand cannon, you've got to be pacing your shots. Just because the gun can shoot that fast doesn't mean you should shoot it that fast. With autos, you're going to be shooting as fast as you can, but the way you deal with the recoil is with your thumb, by pulling it down, making sure that you're keeping right on that headshot, not too low and not too high. Very different skills there.
Absolutely.
That's it for our questions, guys.
We have one little announcement we'd like to make.
Just a
Swain,
little announcement.
do you want to tell them? You want to tell the folks?
For sure, sure. We've been working on this for a little while. A lot of other like podcasts have great communities, and we thought it was time that we start building ours a little bit more. And we wanted to reach out and offer the ability to join us in a Slack chat. We know that guys at Destiny Ghost Stories have one of these, and we use one for our day in and day out planning of the podcast. So we thought it'd be a great idea to invite you guys along for the ride.
Yeah, Slack is so cool. It's an amazing, life-changing app. I don't know how I functioned without it before 2015. But it basically allows us to set up a few channels, some that everyone can be a part of, some that just the administrators can control for announcement purposes. But what we want to use it for is basically LFG with people that you know are in the same mindset as you. So if you really want to get good, if you want to focus on self-improvement and drop the complaining about the meta or Thorn or shotguns or whatever, here's a place where you can find someone that will do the same. We also want to set up scrimmages, against us or against other people who are kind of in that world of getting more serious, but they're not ready to go out and fight Texas Prod like I clearly am ready to do. Texas,
Get wrecked. Let's go.
He's coming for you.
But it's a great spot, and we're also going to talk strategies. Obviously, we spend so much time researching and analyzing the Crucible, and there's so much discussion to be had outside of this, and it's going to be cool.
We also wanted to kind of take the stigma out of scrimmages, because it would seem like it's not very inviting. When you see people streaming it, it's usually their close friends, and it's tough. You kind of have to have that group to break into it. So we want to be that hub. We want to be that hub for you to learn, to find new friends, find people that are similar minded. Hell, you can even find some lore in this channel from the guys.
We do like lore, contrary to popular belief.
Yeah, the guys over at Destiny Ghost Stories are going to stop in, give you some lore from time to time. We're try and keep them focused on Crucible related lore, but it's all there.
Well, and they're not the only names of people might recognize for folks that are going to be hanging out in this Slack. We've got some other fun and enjoyable popular folks who are going to be frequenting the Slack as well.
Yeah, we have some of the streamers we mentioned earlier. We have a few members of Resolute, the wonderfully fun Destiny clan. We've got us. We're fun, right?
Yeah, I'm so fun.
Pretty fun. Scale of 1 to 10, solid 8.
Solid 5 out of 7.
So there is a little bit to this. We want to keep it pretty strictly positive. Strictly positive. So we will have a 3 strikes rule. Got to behave. And we also want you to send us an email so you can get the invite and tell us a little bit about yourself. So you're going to send an email to crucibleradioslack@gmail.com. And when you leave that email, you have to leave your system, your game tag or PSN, and tell us a little bit about yourself, where you found Destiny, and what kind of role do you want to take in the Slack chat. Are you a teacher or are you a learner? We definitely want to keep it balanced. We want to bring in people that are willing to help others with setting up scrims or finding LFG groups for trials or taking someone to their first lighthouse run. We want to keep it so that's even. We have people that are helping. So send us an email, crucibleradioslack@gmail.com. Make sure you leave all of those contents, and we'll invite people in bunches on Mondays.
Yep, Mondays is when we'll go through that. Yeah, it's just like this show. We want to reach out to people of all skill levels because everyone has room to improve. Me, Luminosity, sorry, I said that twice. And yeah, so it's going to be a fun place for us to just get better and to work on that together. So if you're interested in joining, we look forward to hearing from you.
Crucible Radio Slack@gmail.com.
Yeah.
Sponsored by Fish Memes.
Maybe we should mention that in addition to all of this, there's an incredible amount of stupid bullshit and meme posting that happens. Like, just a heads up, it's pretty dense in there.
It's
more GIFs than you know what to do with.
And that's why there's other channels, so we can be serious in the other channels.
All right, enough jibber jabber. Enough
More
who's
jabber.
and what's it galore.
Hockey.
Enough jabber hockey.
Pew pew.
Let's get on
Pew pew pew.
to a incredible interview with Luminosity of BSK. But first, we do this thing where music happens. It's a break. It's called a musical break.
What?
You've seen it coming a mile away.
Oh,
It's about to happen.
right.
Hey, it's me, Swain, with my Italian
Shut up,
singing
Italian
voice.
Swain.
Music this week comes from Levels. So gent. Check them out. SoundCloud.com/levelsmetal. We are loving all of the musical submissions we're getting from you guys. Keep them coming. We love hearing your stuff and playing on the show. And now our interview with Lumi.
Hello, everyone. We've got a very special guest this week, fresh off of his win with BSK in the Far Cognitions tournament from this past weekend. Well, 2 weekends ago, technically. We've got Luminosity in the studio. What's up, man?
Hey, how's it going, man? Pleasure to be here.
Hey, thanks for joining us.
So how are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Bones hit me up, was like, want to come on Crucible Radio, and of course, said yeah, and now I'm here.
Didn't want to be the first person to say, fuck off, guys.
Too nice.
So, as we normally start these things out, we love to hear about where you come from as a gamer before Destiny. It's still a pretty new game. Obviously, you probably did something before that. So tell us a little bit about how you got into video games and just shooters in general.
I mean, starting out on the PlayStation 1, like everyone else, man, playing Spyro, Crash Bandicoot, all those type of games. And, PS2, played Ratchet and Clank, more Crash Bandicoot. And then, I really did not play any first-person shooter until I was in, like, the 5th grade. PS3 came out, and I picked up Resistance Fall of Men. And I was not very good, first shooter, not very good. And, obviously I would play offline, split screen. But then playing online against real people, it was not fun. But, kept playing that, transitioned into COD, not very good at COD either. And then, one day, I don't know what happened, like, MW2 came out. And then it was like, wow, I'm good at the game. Kept playing it, had a lot of free time, was a little kid, a lot of energy. And, but, as COD kept going on, Black Ops 1 was good, Black Ops 2, but after that, Advanced Warfare came out, Ghost came out, I couldn't play COD anymore. And I was looking for that game to go over, and then, I heard about Destiny. Obviously we all know Bungie, Halo, what a great, I played a little bit of Halo when I would go here and there to like, relatives' house or friends, and I'd be like, I love this game. Played the beta, the beta was top 3 games like I've ever played. Like I played that game like a week straight beta every day, and, it was amazing. The PvP was like, even though there wasn't like, it was all auto rifle, it was basic, it was simple, and it felt like Halo. And from there, picked up Destiny, met, a whole bunch of people, the community, and now I'm just like, now I'm here.
So you sort of made that transition from like a solo gamer who just likes to play games to like, hey, you're starting to get pretty good, and then you're sort of meeting people and playing with other people and sort of exploring it. How did you make that transition?
The entire beta, I never had anyone else in my fire team. No matter what people would invite me, I didn't care. I was like, I'm good enough. I'm just going to go in solo. But then, I heard about the raid, I was like, oh man, I need to actually play with people. I went on Bungie.net, found a clan, joined up. And then from there, you won't fully enjoy the game unless you have people to play with. Like even now, there isn't much to do, but I get on and I play not for the game, but for the people I play with. You know what I mean? Like it's something to do while hanging out.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, besides playing with roommates and Halo Reach, I never interacted with other people in the video games, even if I was into shooting online or anything like that. But Destiny kind of does encourage that, but I don't know, it works for some reason, whereas I'm not putting my headset on to play any other competitive game or online or anything like that.
Yeah, like if I'm playing COD, I'm not trying to talk to people in game. I'm gonna focus up and play and do my own thing. But Destiny, I don't, I really do wish they would have incorporated like voice, like how the lobby system, how COD does, like early on. Because by the time they included it into the game, people had already been in party chat and they weren't gonna leave and figure all that out.
Yeah,
right.
It was definitely weird. When I played the beta, I was like, why is no one talking? Because like I would like talking to other people, but I wouldn't like invite them. But it'd be fun to hear other people. I just wouldn't. I'd mute my mic. I'd be like, why is no one talking? And then oh, wow, this game doesn't have like a lobby system. Cool.
Yeah.
So is the whole community aspect just another extension, like why you went and started streaming? Tell us a little bit about that.
People had always told me to stream, but I never figured anyone would watch me. I never, going to school, I'd go to school, come home, and I'd hang out, whatever, but I was never like the one that could talk to people. I wasn't really confident, and I figured like, it wasn't something that I would enjoy doing. I would play for fun and get off. But as like the game kept, dying down, I was like, there's nothing for me to do anymore. So then I picked up streaming, and that is like, my stream is what keeps me going, because that they enjoy watching me and they enjoy hanging out. So that is, I don't know, it was like the whole like community thing. Twitch has such a strong community that like I've never seen it in any other game. I could go to anyone's stream and there's like, people who are in my stream who know me, and then like, hey, how was your day? It's a good feeling.
Well, you mentioned that you found a clan early on. Let's talk about BSK. How did you get into that, and how did they kind of rise to this kind of known clan in the game nowadays?
Okay, when beta came out, I was playing on PS3 too. I didn't have enough money for a PS4 at the time, so I was playing on PS3. Old console. A lot of the people were on PS4. So beta ended. I finished like top 5 on Destiny Tracker, and I didn't have a clan, which was weird. Like for a top 5 player. So I went on the forums and I had a few invites, but I didn't really know, and I wanted to join a top clan. I thought the game was gonna go competitive. We made BSK, but there was another member, Lucky Charms 343. He's like a co-leader right now. I made a post, hey, I need a clan. He picked me up. He picked me up because he finished like top 10 too. I was top 5. I was like, okay, these guys are really good. Their clan was really good. I joined, and then I spent a year with them. But then around June, all of them like had stopped playing, and the leader, was nowhere to be found. I was in Invigorate. They went to other games. That was fine. But then, me and my like close group of friends in that clan was like, we want to do our own thing. You know what I mean? Like nothing is being done. We want to go forward, not stay still. So, Bomb Squad Kittens, funny story. A game I used to play on PS3 for like 3 years, Warhawk. It was the clan I was in back then. I don't know where they are now, but that was their name back then. And I was like, we were trying to think of a clan name. I was like, yo, Bomb Squad Kittens, And then it was catchy, and right away everyone was like, I love it. I love it. Because, you have I Am, you have Primal, and then you have Bomb Squad Kittens. Like, it's like a funny, oh, wow, like, oh my God, the Bomb Squad Kittens. Like, it's intimidating, but like funny. And then we went with that. That was around the time I started streaming when I made it, and we didn't know how far it was gonna get. We thought, I had my name. People knew me a little bit from like being a competitive player and all, but that was about it. We made it in June, and then here we are. I get into games, and then whenever I play trials, by the end of the weekend, I've gotten like 40, 50 messages like, oh, you're in Bomb Squad Kittens. Oh, you're Lumi. That's like a combination of streaming too. But the funny thing is when like the lesser known clan members will like tell Lumi, hey, like I never, like we're the Optic Gaming of, I'm not saying that we're that big, but it's cool to get recognized. Because I played COD, no one would recognize me. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But you play Destiny, and then the community. You go to the tower and people are like, dancing and teabagging, like, what? Like, it's a good feeling. And, everyone in Bomb Squad Kittens, right? Like, people are, at the end of the week, we usually have 100 to 200 requests to join. And, like, we just, like, tell them, like, people are like, hey, how can I join? But at the moment, it's just, like, we started off as friends, you know what I mean? Like, when we picked the clan, Yeah, we were good players, but we have some people in there who like have like a point 0.8 KD, but they're really good friends, you know what I mean? And I tell people like the point of a clan has always been you make it with friends, you know what I mean? People who will make the game more enjoyable, and that is what we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it can be tough too, because if you're trying to really push yourself and you want to surround yourself with good players, sometimes the first instinct is to just say like, well, let's just join a group or something like that. But I find like it's much more enjoyable to go through the process of getting better,
the journey,
if you're playing with your friends, you know, as opposed to just going up against someone who's going to stomp you and not care about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of an interesting dynamic there.
Yeah, we get like, you know, people are like, hey, you want to play us or whatever, and you know, I want to play everyone, but you're not going to get better if we go in and you get 2 kills and we just like end the game, you know, a minute into it. Like, you don't get better. Like, you know, one team in the tourney that we played, you know, props to them, you know, they made it past pre-qualifiers, but we played them and it took like an hour and a half to match up. First game, you know, we had to let them kill us so we wouldn't, you know, apple them and have to re-queue. And that, you know, as I tell people, like, you know, play against people your skill level, and then get, you know, as you keep getting better, then play people better than you. You can't jump in with the top players and expect to do well, because just like playing pubs and like competitive, it is, you know, I know people are like, Destiny doesn't have competitive, but when you play those players, you're blown away. Like, just whatever they do, whatever it is, whatever their gun skill is, you can't compete if you've never played people at that skill level.
Right.
So you made the shift from being, you know, a top 10 player and being very solid, but really kind of rolling solo, and then you're in a team situation all of a sudden with other good players. Did you sort of see changes in your gameplay or sort of learning from that, aside from just the sort of basic of being a good solo 1v1 player?
I mean, coming from COD, like, I had good, you know, like, reaction speed, whatever. You know, my gun skill is good, but one of my clan members at the time was, like, easily the best player I played against or played with. And I learned, like, he stopped playing long ago, but I credit him for a lot of where I am today. Because I mained a Titan, he mained Golden Gun, but when I switched over to Hunter, like, I learned everything, like trip mine spots, when to pop Golden Gun, you know, like what shotgun to use, what sniper to use. It's like, I'm glad I joined, because Destiny wasn't as like straightforward as I thought, because I wasn't into PvE. I didn't do VOG for a month and a half. And then it wasn't until I started getting killed by found verdicts, I would start raging, like, you know, I'd have a green shock and I'm like, and then he took me through it. I remember he took me through hard, and then, you know, he made me a better player. You know, you definitely need to play with other people, and they'll, you know, they will teach you stuff. I play Hunter Shadestep, right? But whenever I play a Warlock, I don't do that great if I go into a competitive game. So I watch other people play it, and I learn what they do, and I try to mimic that. Just go on Bungie, find a clan, you know, or go on Twitch, you know, try and, you know, sub to someone, join a sub clan, and there are good people, and you will become a better player.
Yeah, in my experience, it was the hardest step for sure was just taking that first step of saying, like, I'm going to play with anybody and I'm going to join any clan. And as soon as you sort of get the ball rolling, you meet people, you meet friends of friends, and you sort of build your network, and then you have so many more choices, but it's just, you just have to take that first step to really get it going.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about your loadout for the tournament that just went by.
Well, the rules were, you know, you can only have one of each subclass. So you can't go in with 3 Hammer Titans. You can't go in with 3, you know, Night Stalkers. You can't go in with 3 anything. So, you know, I main Hunter, Night Stalker, and then we have 2 Warlocks, Radiance and Nova Bomb. Going into Taking King, I mained a Titan, but, you know, I only mained a Titan because we needed a Defender for the raid. But then after that was over, I've always mained Hunter. So I went back to Hunter, you know, I was watching Pashi play it, and then when I found out you could, like, neutralize, like, every nade in the game, I made the switch over, and, you know, so Night Stalker has a really good neutral game, and I ran a Thorn, everyone's favorite gun, you know? I mean, after the patch, you know, 3 body shot, you know, like 2 1 headshot, 2 body shot, it kills way too quickly not to use it, and the range, you know, not year 1, but, you know, if you have a good shot with it, you can beat a last word close range. And then I ran shotgun, so it was just shotgun, Thorn, Night Stalker, and I ran a discipline strength build.
Yeah, so if you're listening to Crucible Radio and you don't know about the Fire Cognition tournament that just happened, it was one of the more exciting things to happen in Destiny. Maybe, if not the most exciting thing for PvP players, that's for sure. And so, Lumi, you played with Who are your two teammates?
OTF and I am Boo.
I and Boo, right.
Mhm.
And you guys had some great games. You guys did very well, obviously taking the championship.
Yeah.
It was pretty interesting because I can't remember watching rules where you had to have different subclasses. You couldn't double up on Sunsingers. I thought that was nice, but obviously, people are playing with the most competitive weapons, which is Thorn at this current time.
Yeah.
But it was really exciting to watch.
Yeah.
I thought there was a lot of good strategy going on, and it was really just high intensity the entire time.
The thing with Thorn, I know people are, you see Thorn and you think back at year one and you hate it. But the truth is, like, competitive players enjoy using Thorn. And for there was another tournament back when Taken King dropped. In the pulse rifle meta, I think the finals had a turnout of I had personally 1,000 people. Mm-hmm. People don't enjoy watching a pulse rifle meta gameplay. It's just a lot slower. There's just something about Thorn that people enjoy watching, like the quick kill time. People enjoy it, and I wasn't expecting that turnout, but a lot of it was due to big names in the community. After they would lose or whatever, they'd host another person, and then people would watch. Mm-hmm. These one-day tournaments definitely build a lot of hype. Like, you're going into it, you're rooting for your favorite teams. They get knocked out, then you go to another channel, you're rooting for them. Really, really intense, and they don't happen that often. Like, people who are watching, don't get to, see a tourney. Like, top players go at it, because Xbox came over too and played. The last time I played Poshi was a year ago. So you're not getting to see the two, in my opinion, I would say the 1 and 2, either way. Best Night Stalkers go at it.
Yeah.
For ever, in a long time, and people want to see that.
So, I mean, you mentioned some of the other big names. I guess sort of looking back over the tournament, were there any particular rounds or just any competition you went up against that really stood out as matches that pushed you to bring your A+ game, your S game?
So, right before the finals, to make it to the finals, we had to play Team Op, which is Poshi, War Bulletproof, and Extremism, Team Xbox. Going in, I talked after to my team. Going in, I was confident, but I was worried. Every time I had played them before, they had beat me. I'm 0-3, in tourneys against them when they've came. And going in, and that day, even when we had been playing the lesser known teams, I was doing bad. And I was about to sub out at one point, but then they said, Ambu was play, whatever. If it happens, it happens. We were nervous, though. They're a good team,
Yeah.
Some of the best players from Xbox. But, we went in, after we won the first round, the nerves, you're take a deep breath. We got it. Game 2, we win by 50 points. Okay, we got it. Game 3, Thieves Den. I don't know what happened. I went on a 12 kill streak. It was over. That was when I was okay, 3-0. We need one more. We got it. We're gonna get the 4-0. Go to Pantheon. We're we gotta close it out. We don't want to go to 5. We don't want to give them any breathing room. And then we close it out in 4. And I think I've never seen a chat move that quickly. It was crazy. Yeah. Oh man.
I had your stream up along with a few other ones in every corner of my screen that day. And one of my favorite lines of yours was right after that series. And you went, I don't want to play these guys anymore.
I was I don't want to. I'm yo, back it now. I don't want to play anymore. It's stressful, man. It really stressful. Is. Yeah. And, even though we're winning, that, when you're playing good players, anything can happen.
Yeah.
Anything. You don't ever want to, back down, and then I think, we capitalized on how we were playing. Our teamwork was on point, and then, we just went with that. I think, they were good players too, but, coming over to a different console, not having played together that much, whereas me, Ambu, and OTF have been playing for half a year now, we definitely had the edge going in to that matchup.
Well, so talk a little bit more about that. I mean, sort of aside from the sheer adrenaline of it all, what's going through your head when you know the match could go either way? Mm-hmm. What are the things that you're sort of actively thinking about and trying to communicate and trying to make happen to tip a match like that in your favor?
I mean, going in, you just have to have belief. You got to believe in your teammates. Before we even played, OTF hadn't played at all today. His internet was off the entire day. He was getting a new router, and we had to have a sub. So going into that, 4 hours later, he has not played one game. He has not warmed up. But, you tell your teammates, just go in, we've been, do the same thing you do, but then you got to adapt a little to how they're playing. So, okay, you see Poshi in the corner, don't throw your nade in there. Don't throw a nade at him. He's gonna shade step through, and now you don't have a nade. You got to make a little adjustments here and there, but just going in, you got to believe. You got to believe that you can beat them, even if they're better. You have to go in thinking you're gonna that you have the tools to beat them, and you got to play. It could go either way at any point. There's nothing that I would say that we did this specifically that led us to win, but other than that we were calling out and we were focused and we wanted it.
Do you have any specific rules or sets for your call-outs? I mean, besides having good team chemistry from playing together, do you prepare anything like that? Did you do anything specifically? Because your communication was on point and it was great to listen to. And I feel like that gives teams an edge when they can communicate. Do you have any sort of insider clan guides on that?
I mean, one
thing you
want
to reveal to everyone.
One thing we do that other people people either love it or they hate it. We get hyped up. Ambu will yell, OT over, and we'll yell, "Let's go!" Good shit, good shit. And I feed off that energy because when we go in quiet, when you go in quiet, and you die here and there, you go completely quiet, and if you're not calling out, you're not gonna win. When going in, call out everything. If you see a guy just running across the map, call him out, because who knows where it might help your teammate. Just call out everything. People think that call out might not help, but who knows? I tell them call out everything, and don't stop talking everything you're doing. And then if you're in a 1v1 gunfight, call it out during the gunfight. Don't call it out after you die, because by the time you die, they're already gone. You know what I mean? Just little stuff like that. Calling out, before you die. Always communicating. Just simple stuff. But communicating like that, you got to play with them. Because what I call one call out, if I call bottom bridge, and there's 3 bridges. But if I play with, if I've been playing with them for half a year, they know where that is. You know what I mean? If I'm playing with a pickup, they have no idea what I'm talking about. If I say, on back catwalk, they're gonna be where, So you gotta play with them beforehand. And we had night before we played Xbox and we started off 0-3. They were just demolishing us, and I was like, what are we doing? And Ambu and OTF, they were like, we're afraid. I was like, don't be afraid. If we play, if you're afraid. I was afraid too, but I wasn't going to show it, but I was playing like I wasn't, and I was doing well. If you play afraid, they're going to eat you up. You can't play afraid. And then going into the tourney when we played them, we were like, they definitely didn't play afraid. They weren't afraid, and, we ended up with the win.
One of the coolest parts of the tournament was just the fact that, it was always, a lot of times it was pretty close. And I feel like that had a lot to do with, if there was someone down, they could chain a super, a couple supers, and just get right back into the game. And do you think that's something that's super unique about Destiny? Do you like that compared to COD?
The scoring system is definitely off. There have been times where we had more kills than revives, and they still won. Reviving giving 50 points shouldn't be equal to 100 for a kill. I wish it would just be first to 50. Bare bones, first to 50. Revives, the only thing that a revive will give you is that you can push them. You know what I mean? You get an overshield, but getting an overshield, getting 50, it is weird. You never, a game can turn so quickly. You can wipe them, wipe them once, kill all 3, and you got 4 assists too. You got 800 points, because when you kill first place, the person in first place, you get a bonus 50. You get a super kill, you get more, 50 here and there. It does allow for comeback wins, but I'd prefer, simple first to 50 scoring system. But, you just got to deal with the cards you're dealt.
Sort of to combat that a little bit as I guess the minimal amount of rules in place. How do you feel playing with those? I mean, obviously they've been around for a while as far as sweaties go, but I think they, for the most part, made gameplay pretty fair and interesting. Would you agree?
Yeah, limiting subclasses and then no exotic armor, it does make it more enjoyable. Having exotic armor where you'll always spawn with the nade gets annoying.
Yeah.
So just limiting stuff like that, it does help. And there's talk, ban Thorn, ban Last Word, but I don't think they'll ever go that extreme. Or ban Shade Step, but if you can't just ban one, perk off one subclass, you know what I mean?
Right.
You had mentioned sort of talking about the the use of grenades. And one thing I liked about this rule set is because you didn't have the exotic armor and because you were limited to one subclass per team, that certain grenades became sort of very strategic decisions. I mean, I heard Pashi say continually like, oh, they wasted their firebolt because you have one firebolt per team and you have to wait for it to recharge. So I'd like to hear you talk a little bit just about how you view what grenades are for playing at that level of competition. I mean, it's not like pubs where you toss it if you think it might work out. It's so valuable, right?
When you're pushing a team, you don't want to push if you don't have your nades charged up. So okay, if you have a firebolt and if we're making a push and we have our nades and red on the radar, throw a firebolt around the corner, it's Lumi, he shade stepped out of it. Now that he doesn't have a firebolt, he has a melee, and that is about it. Whereas now we have our firebolt, so we can tag, 2 out of their 3 members who can't dodge them. So like when Posh would say, they wasted their firebolt, like you guys can come out of hiding. So if I'm ever making a push, I'm usually the one in front, like taking the firebolt and making them waste it. Even though like you can, like that one player can dodge it, we had a Voidwalker too. And after we talked to Warren, he was like, I'd always be on the flank, and then OTF and Ambu would throw both of them, and then they would be forced to run. If they got tagged, they're running. If a grape is behind them, they're running. Pasha would, shade step out of it, but then, they'd have to run. He would have to stay there, and then you could collapse on them. Nades definitely, like, we made the switch from a Titan to a Voidwalker. Like, yeah, Titan, you have a lightning nade, but you can't do anything with that. You know what I mean? Like, you can't really push them out. Like, if they're in a room, you can't force them out. Grape, throw it in there, and then, you got to make them scramble. You always have to keep people, like, you want to push them. Don't ever, if you kill 2 people, don't let the other guy, camp around. Push him. 3v1. Even if you trade, you got the revive. You know what I mean? You have to keep people, moving. You can't, ever get, like, if we're on B, you don't want to hold B. You want to push them. You want to keep push.
If you're continuously pushing, are you circling the maps usually, or are you gonna wait after you do a team wipe and then let them reset and then push again?
Well, after you do a team wipe, you usually want to like take notice of where they're spawning, because usually like Destiny spawns aren't the best. Like, okay, on Pantheon especially, what'll happen is you wipe a team in middle map, 2 of them are in one side of the map and the other one is on 1. You know what I mean? So 3 of you are either gonna push 2 or 1, and you're usually gonna wipe. So a big thing with Destiny is that, like, right when you die, don't start spamming square until your other 2 teammates are dead too. Like, on those type of maps, you want to spawn in together. Because when you get split spawn like that, you get picked off from every angle, and then your other 2 teammates are going to get picked off from every angle. So, like, you usually want to wait when you're, like, the last one remaining. One thing going in that we used to do before, okay, so if, like, Ambu and OTF die, and I'm in their spawn, what would happen is they would rush and, like, spawn in and run to me. But what happens then is that I'm gonna die by the time they get there, and then Ambu, like, he had to run in. He's in a bad spot now, and like he couldn't do anything. So we said, like, okay, if you get trapped alone, like, don't run in. You're gonna you either gotta make a play or you're gonna die. You know what I mean? Like, you can lead them back to us, but you can't run in expecting to help. Like, and that's what we did. If you die, we'd be like, okay, you're on your own. Like, we're gonna go here, try and bait them back. Bring them back, and they're not gonna be expecting us.
I love so much to hear top players talk about positioning, so especially as a team, because it's something that a lot of players don't really think about. You sort of, see someone on your radar and just go run until you find them, and then you have a shootout.
Yeah.
When you're working with a team, and I mean, maybe we could talk at like specific maps. Okay, let's take Anomaly.
Okay.
What are you thinking about sort of positioning as a team in terms of where you want to be, where you want your teammates to be, whether you want to be close or far apart, and sort of how that works with the rhythm of the engagements with the other team?
Well, usually it varies from map to map, but you don't want to be like, okay, like on Catwalk, across from B table, you don't ever want 3 people on one side, you know what I mean? Because you can't get any angles. So you usually want, like, what we usually do is, like, you either want one guy all the way in the bottom of the ring, because then you can run and, like, get any angle, or like underneath B table. Then you have, like, people on Catwalk, underneath Catwalk, and you control mid map. Okay, so if someone spawns in, like, heavy cave and you have one Catwalk and underneath B table, look how quickly you can push him. You can push him from both sides, and then he can't really go anywhere. Like you always want angles to the point where that you can cut a person running. You get one tag on with Thorn, he's running, cut him off. You know what I mean?
What do you do when you're caught in that situation and you can feel them getting ready to collapse on you?
Well, I mean, if you spawn up, then, you have to make the best out of the play. But if you can't, like if they have map control, you have to spawn in with your team and you have to be like, okay, wait to push. I'm going to try and go all the way around, and then when I'm there, then you push, If you have a super, try and get one down. Like Thieves Den, especially, like on that map, game 3, you hold top mid, they can only come from 3 entrances, you know what I mean? And it's hard to sneak in because 2 of them are doors and then 1 is a narrow passageway. So you have like 3 people just split up, and then if there's 2 pushing, you rotate. If there's 1, and then 1 guy watch mid. Like you have like 1 on left, 1 in mid, 1 on right. And then the middle guy is always just rotate. Like you just rotate 1 over, back and forth until, as they keep pushing. It's like 3 people pushing through a door isn't usually going to happen. They're going to push 2 and then 1 around.
3 people do it. It's like a Three Stooges bit.
Yeah.
So we're talking about threes here, and obviously I agree that threes is probably the most competitive setting in the game right now. Just out of curiosity, because I know a lot of people that listen do love the 6 playlists, do you approach those in any sort of similar way? Do you have a strategy, or is that to you just kind of chaos?
I mean,
free for all, get a lot of kills.
It is way too chaotic now. Back in the day,
Right.
We would do it with auto rifles, but now it is way too chaotic. And then getting 6 people to, and like getting 12 people, is like queue, a lot of work too. But then
Yeah.
it's like the fact that like when I'm playing that, I'm not even calling out. I'm just trying to go for kills. Like there's no objective, There's just like too much going on for you to really even make a push.
That's fair.
Yeah, supers just make too much of an impact. Like you get 4 golden guns and then you have map control. Anytime they push, you pop a golden gun, make orbs, then the other person has golden gun. Not to mention your supers filling up. It becomes more of like a super battle and like shoddy. Because like you can't really get primary kills in those game modes.
Well, that's kind of a good argument for threes, because I know I see every once in a while on the internet that wonderful little argument of Destiny couldn't work with supers if it went competitive, or it'd have to be a custom game mode without supers. But threes really limit that snowball effect, right?
Yeah,
they don't
they
let
really
it just
do.
get totally out of control with chaining orbs and stuff like that.
I mean, I get like 2 tethers a game. People on average in like a skirmish or skirmish game will get 2 tether, 2 supers. And I run a tier 1 intellect, and then they're not enough to be a game changer. Whereas in 6s they will be. They will help you wipe a team, or they can help you make a push, but they're not anything that'll be, that will wipe a team and force you to lose. I definitely think they make the game more interesting with supers than without. Like, we could do it like, even when you get your super, you can't pop it, but I don't think the game would be that interesting without them.
There's one other thing in particular I really enjoyed about watching this tournament, and that's just getting to see from everyone who's streaming, just watching everybody move around the map, not even like thinking about positioning, but just the way people cover ground, they go around corners, they enter rooms, and you just learn all these different pathways.
Yeah.
I guess sort of in your experience, I mean, what are the differences between a really high skill player and a regular player in just sort of raw movement?
I mean, one thing people, whenever they play me, or like after, they'll always say, you're like playing, I hate playing Lumi, he's so slippery. And that'll mean like I'm always like hugging a wall, shade stepping around a wall, sliding around a wall. Like I'm just hard to kill. Like back when I played COD, my mentality was like, just don't die. I want to get a good kill streak. I don't want to die. So even in like the tourney games, my mindset is like limit how many times I die, because if I'm alive, I can help my teammates. Just like knowing when to push. Like on Widow's Court when we played Primal, I would know, like, as my teammates were pushing up on one side of the map, I would be running on the, like, far, like, corner of the map, pushing up, getting the flank. But I think people are too inclined just to run in sometimes too quickly. Whereas, like, you crouch a little, see what's going on, then make a push. Don't be running, when there's a guy around the corner. But yeah, just, like, you just have to play the game, get a feel for it, start playing sweaties, and then practice your movement. Mainly
be slippery.
Yeah, be slippery. Sliding around will help. Yeah.
Okay. All right. This is all really good stuff, man. This is awesome. Okay. Final question.
Yeah.
Multiple choice. 3 possible answers. good shit, let's go boys, or rip.
Let's go! Let's go, baby!
See, probably my favorite part was hearing like long periods of silence from Anbu, and then just a slow like or OTF, and then just out of nowhere, let's fucking go!
Yeah,
everyone is just like immediately energized.
Yeah,
and drop
on
into
game
the next
one,
game.
you know, when we played Primal in the finals, you know, Anbu and I hadn't played in that tourney. I didn't feel like playing. You know, I was like, I want to take a break. You know, I've been playing way too much, and I didn't play. You know, it was the holidays, and you know, they took a sub in, and then they lost to that very same team. They lost 1-3, and they were a little nervous going in too. But I said, you know, don't worry about it. And then like that game, I started off on like an 8-kill streak, and I looked at the score. I'm like, okay, halfway through, I'm like, let's get the mercy, and then we mercied them in the finals, and then the, you know, the yelling and then the chat. It was you know, it really
about as hype
does.
as it
Yeah.
gets.
It really does feel like, you know, like you're at COD champs, you know, all the hype and all the excitement, all the people watching.
We were trying to come up with a drinking game to go along with watching the tournament.
With like I mean,
let's go.
every let's go and good
Or
shit.
he's absolute.
Absolute.
He's one shot.
I think you would be passed out after
Yeah,
one
I
round.
think
you
we're
wouldn't
dead.
make it, man. And I know, like, you know, people would say that, like, why do you guys do that so much? And like, you know, it's just like the hype. You know, I enjoy it, and I think, you know, we play off of that. You know, when one's doing good, we encourage you, like, good shit. Like, I remember on Thieves then, Ambu and OTF for neg, but I was they had 500 points and I had 2K, and they're like, Lumi, good shit. Like, just whatever you're doing,
Yeah.
keep doing. You know, when you get in that zone, you know, it's not even like, you know, you're just a good player and you're just going off. You know, you're just feeling it, and no matter what you're doing, it is working. And they were just like, you know, keep going, you know, just keep going.
Well, this is awesome, man. That's some really good stuff. Thank you again for coming on, Luminosity. It's been a real pleasure. Got to stay slippery. Gotta get hype.
Good shit.
Any final parting words?
No, you know, thank you for having me here, man. I appreciate it, man. And hopefully, you know, I really don't feel like Destiny 1 will have like private matches, but going forward, I think, you know, Destiny could be, you know, like as big as Halo if they like tweak certain things.
So you want to let everybody know where they can find you?
Yeah, you know, I stream on twitch.tv/luminosity. Got an OG name, you know, got a name
I
change.
saw
Thank
that.
you, Hassan. And then you can follow me on Twitter at twitter.com/luminosity48.
Awesome.
Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
Tom.
Oh, thank
man.
you, guys.
Guys, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling the hype. Let's go.
Yeah, versus hype. Good shit, good shit. Let's go, boys.
This is it.
Birds is hype, birds is hype.
All right. Let's go.
Hey guys, I just got an invite from Lumi. He wants to do some skirmishes. You guys up?
Oh no.
I kind of
I've got it. I got a trip. I got it.
Could I maybe just watch?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, let's just watch.
Follow us on Twitter at Crucible Radio. Follow me under Boom Scores. Follow Swain under Stash.
That's not true.
No, none of those are true.
Very misleading.
Follow us on Twitter at Crucible Radio. Follow me, SwainStash_CR, Famous Birds, and Bones_CR. Also, find us on Facebook, guys. Follow us there.
Come challenge us in 3v3s.
Let's go.
The podcast.